Hi there, it's Paulie here with Tea Talk with Mr. Snoots. Hey. Yeah, look, so kind of a viewer response thing here. So I put up some Tea Talk videos. I had done one which sort of started off and talked about little strange little things like the fact that trans people in sports needs to be a nuanced conversation, but most particularly I did the one about misogyny in the very genesis of the role-playing hobby and how it's still with us today. Now this channel was absolutely deluged with hate comments from right-wingers. Deluged. Plus people got onto my email from the channel and just hundreds of comments. Now these run from look, I'm trans and I'm in public. So the things that I will get daily on this channel are people, you will never be a real woman. You're a freak. You need to be kept out of women's bathrooms. It's like, so fuck yourselves. Lots of death threats. They actually get forwarded to the police. So, for those who send those, remember, there are files open on you now. Muzzle tough, baby. I also find it quite funny because these threats come from people I could basically, slaughter in an instant. But, yeah, I got a lot of comments from you nice people out there about they don't understand where this comes from. Why is this happening? Why are there so many people insisting that this demonstrable and provable misogyny isn't there? So yeah, some musings on that, because you'll notice that they really doubled down. This can't possibly be happening. This can't possibly be so. Oh, I've got a black friend. I knew a woman who played back in the day. Says, oh, how nice of you. Yeah, we've seen this before. But yeah, that kind of doubling down. Well, I guess what would we say? Incrementalism and hierarchy. So I guess one thing to answer this question would be that you'll notice that the bulk of the attacks that I mentioned are, you're a freak, you'll never be a woman. They've got nothing to do with the actual argument presented. So this is what we call the fallacy of ad hominem attack. If you basically can't attack an argument, you will attempt to attack the person presenting the argument as if somehow that person has no worth and therefore no ability to have a valid point of view. So when someone comes on here to say you're a freak, that is an ad hominem attack. And it's basically a pathetic cast of the dice where someone is trying to say your argument is false because I don't like your sort of person. Now I find, and please forgive me, but I find any anti-trans stuff, I just say put in the slur of your choice, because I don't think it's that bad, really. For anti-trans stuff, anything you say talking about trans people or whatever, replace it with your favourite, replace it with Jew. Or replace it with a well-known slur for black African Americans. Reread the sentence with those words in it. Ask yourself how it sounds now. Refreshing, hey? And it's the same language because it's the same thing and it's the same level of argument. Basically, I don't get you. Now, this does come around to essentially incrementalism. What do I mean by that? Okay, he wants to know too. It is essentially a fact of right-wing thought, the authoritarian thought, that hierarchy is sacred. That this is as it should be. That there are people in charge and there are people who are down the bottom of the heap. Now, in like the sort of the antebellum South in the USA, that's what they got this whole idea of mudsills, the great leaders of the South who basically said that there should be slavery, And so they basically said there shouldn't be the free vote for everybody either, because there are some people who are just, because they have money, they therefore have education, and then they are therefore raised to rule. They have education, and they have a vested interest in society, and they build the mighty structures, where the rest are mud sills, which is basically rods or staves or beams that are put in the mud to hold the structure up above the mud. That's what a mud sill is. The rest of you are mud sills. You were just there to prop up the mighty edifices that these guys make with their intellect. So your opinion isn't necessary. Just shut up and sit there in the mud and do your work, and you will be told by your betters just what to do. That was the core plan, of the antebellum South. Now, this just is a fairly typical example of authoritarian thought process. You'll find it in all fascism. And for those of you who ain't up on it, but essentially, when capitalism comes under threat, it always defaults to fascism. Fascism is just capitalism's antibodies working to try and preserve the power and wealth of those in control. So that's kind of why you're seeing so much of this at the moment, where systems are breaking down, the money gap is bigger and bigger and bigger, and the people at the top are desperate to keep control. And one of the ways they keep control is essentially they turn state violence in upon itself. And one of those things is find a scapegoat, focus on the scapegoat. And this is where we get the term punching down. Because you need a scapegoat for society's woes. Trans people. What? Yeah, trans people. Trans people? Sorry, I can't buy a house because trans people? Yeah, trans people. Okay. Fine, I'm an idiot, I'll buy it. They have to fixate on a hate object, but it has to be a hate object too powerless to attack back. So that's what punching down means. I want to beat upon someone where all the advantage of height is on me. They can't reach me to attack back. And this is what's actually driving a lot of authoritarians mad at the moment, because trans people are fighting back, and they're fighting back successfully. Law's on our side, young people are on our side, the new generation is on our side. This is a fight that's, equality is going to win through in the end, because equality always does. That's how the world seems to be working. But nothing drives an authoritarian, and indeed a narcissist, because the two are intertwined, nothing drives them madder than essentially being proved wrong. So that's where the hate ramps up from. They cannot apologize. They cannot say they are wrong, so they must double down. So this is why there's so much of this sort of thing thundering on the channel. And this is kind of why, this is why it comes from. To a right-wing mind, hierarchy is sacred and must be preserved. And that goes for any hierarchy. And their view is that gaming has a hierarchy. Incrementalism means that I am proud of the level that I have in a hierarchy or in the world, and that I may not have a perfect rich life, but at least I'm better than that guy. If you ever see the movie Mississippi Burning, which I recommend, it's horrifying, but I hope you do, there is a thing where characters just telling about how his father was growing up in Mississippi and how he basically destroyed the life of this black sharecropper family that lived next to them. And this guy said, I looked at my dad and I knew he'd done it. I knew he destroyed these people because they were starting to get their life together, and it was better than the life that this white family were having. And my dad just looked at me and he said, hey, if you're not better than them, then who am I better than? And that's it. You've got to preserve the fact that you feel that you at least have an important part somewhere in the structure of things. Older gamers, many of them have believed that they are the true keepers of the one true way of gaming. And therefore people had to come through them as gatekeepers to partake in that gaming. You will be told the right way to dungeon master. You'll be told the right way to play. You'll be told what's good rules and what's bad rules, what makes an adventure, what doesn't. These people are very used to these things channeling through, and essentially through punditry, an interesting term in itself, they did have a very dominant voice for a very long time. However, in recent years, the popularity of role-playing has just absolutely exponentially grown. It's become extremely popular. Plus, what these people didn't realize is the popularity of gaming in other nations. So Japan, Italy, these sorts of places, role-playing has been going alive and well. Swedish communities, German communities, French communities. The reach and the importance of the self-professed gatekeepers is under threat because people are stepping around in their communities who are now being consulted, who these guys have no reach into. So the hierarchy is being threatened. And that's when the defensive spurs dig in. And that's when they can't say that they're wrong. They have to double down. So essentially, and short, the short cliff notes on this is, essentially, a bunch of butthurt old men are having a screaming tantrum because they're not as important in the overall schemes of things as they wish to be. Their own bigotries mean that they feel that there are some voices which don't deserve to be heard. They don't believe that a trans person should be seen in public, period. And they don't believe that trans people should have a voice. They don't believe that queer people should be seen or heard. And they really don't like the idea that young people are making their own stuff up without consulting them. These concepts are a little bit difficult for them to really articulate. So what they'd rather do is pile a whole bunch of almost incoherent hate bullshit on channels like this one. So that's a very long and roundabout answer as to why there was so much hate mail and so on thundering in on the channel. I clear it all off. I don't engage with these people because they don't deserve it. Also, they do not engage in good faith. Look, I'm a heartless bitch. If someone sits there, and some of these people have banged out multi-page fathons about the destruction of Western civilization, yada yada, squeeze. Good. Do you know how long it takes me to remove that? Gone. You're off the channel. So I have burned up half this person's day, and they've burned up about half a second of mine. Fantastic transaction right there. Fantastic transaction. If only I could burn up all of their time. So I clear this stuff off the channel every day. I want to make sure that essentially you guys don't see it. There are a lot of young trans people come on the channel. Bless you. Hi, everybody. A lot of older trans people come on the channel. It's nice. I'm a bit of a voice for that community, and that's sweet. But I also need to always show these people that I have their back, that they are defended, that there's some hard old bastard that will take any hits that are slung our way. I can take them. So, yeah, do I feel bad about the things these people put up there? I just find them sad. It's like having some kind of incoherent, babbling creature just come and, drool all over you. It's like, get off. They're nothing but a bunch of jingoistic lapdogs for a bunch of wealthy people who've decided that these people are so stupid that they'll stoke their bigotries and make money off them, so it's annoying. I wish these things would have, but some of their wonderful attempts to try and destroy my self-confidence by telling us nah. And there's some other quite sad ones that have tried spreading all kind of other ridiculous things supposed to, I don't know, somehow damage my ego or something. So, to which the answer, darlings, is no. I'm a professional stage dancer. I've been a paid fashion model, and I'm an author with hundreds of thousands of books in circulation. I have black belts in many, many, many esoteric martial arts in skills that you idiots could only dream of. While many of you right-wing idiots have sat there on the couch doing sod all, I've been a soldier. I've served my country. I continue to serve it. I'm a volunteer election officer in a country that's notably free of right-wing coup attempts. So I'll just keep being a perfectly splendid citizen and smeaking gorgeous, thank you. While, right-wing idiots can just sit there and, I don't know, do whatever it is they do with their time. Yep, bunch of bellends. So anyway, we will keep going with the channel, and we will keep doing tea talks, and Mr. Snoots and I will keep being merry and keep designing games and writing books, and we will see you again soon. Yay!